Welcome everybody to our next clip, Parents in Pain. We're in the middle of discussing what the 10 triggers are that cause parents to lose themselves and ultimately to lose their relationship with the kids that we're so much trying to save. The second one is tochacha. We all know there's a mitzvah in the Torah, if you see another yid doing an avera, doing something that's clearly wrong, you have to give him tochacha. You have to put him on the straight and narrow. So before we discuss whether there is or isn't such a mitzvah, we have to make it very clear. We're discussing purely the mitzvah of tochacha, not our reactions to pain, shame, etc., which we'll be discussing in future clips. We're discussing the mitzvah of tochacha, thinking that Hashem has given us this mitzvah, this requirement. We see a child doing an avera, you have to tell him off. You have to make sure that he knows, as if he's forgotten, but he knows he's doing it wrong. Which means that the way you do the mitzvah of tochacha should be no different if it's your own child or if it's somebody else's child. All the added pain and aggression and everything else, the intensity that's going to come with it is not to do with the mitzvah of tochacha. It's to do with other issues and other triggers which we're going to still discuss. Now the Gemara says in Boba Basra daf lamed aleph that the chiyuv of tochacha is even 100 times. I'm not sure if it's more than that. Many of us parents have done tochacha many more than 100 times. The Gemara says in Erchin daf tezvov that if he either curses you or hits you, you don't have a chiyuv of tochacha anymore. And I'll just tell you something on the sidelines. It could be that a parent, a father or mother, has less of a chiyuv of tochacha than anybody else. Because this Gemara we mentioned in Erchin says that the chiyuv of tochacha goes until he hits you. But we know that there's another Gemara in Moed Koton daf Yoetz that says that if your child hits you because you gave him tochacha, you are Lifney iver. You put a stumbling block in front of your child. So it would seem that the chiyuv of Lifney iver regarding parents giving tochacha to their children has to stop and does stop before the child transgresses the iser and averis of kibud aveim. If a child curses a parent, hits a parent, chas v'shalom, then we will machshel him in Lifney iver. If we know he won't listen, the Gemara says in Yevomos daf samach hey, it's a mitzvah not to say something he's not going to listen to. In some cases, the Gemara says, better he should be a shoigeg, he should be ignorant, than be amazed. 3 places the Gemara says this. The Gemara in Erchin, in the Sugi of Tochacha, in daf tezvav amud beis, daf tezayin amud beis, says explicitly that it's not clear that there's anyone nowadays, and let's remember nowadays is 2,000 years ago, who knows how to give tochacha. The Peleh Yoetz writes that the Gemara in Moed Koton daf Yud Zayin that says that if you hit your child more than you're supposed to or more than is appropriate, your iver Lifney iver is giving him too much tochacha, being too harsh on him. There's an amazing Rashi in Minchas Devorim. Rashi asks, why did Yaakov Avinu wait almost 50 years or approximately 50 years between the time that Reuven did a seeming avera, when he changed the beds, and to the time that Yaakov gave him tochacha? Reuven was one of the Shivtei Ka. Yaakov gave him tochacha the last day of his life. He said, Pachaz kamayim al toisar. He gave him tochacha. So Rashi says in Minchas Devorim at the beginning, Yaakov was afraid that Reuven might go off the derech if he gives him tochacha. Now, and this is Yaakov Avinu. This is not just people with kas and getting annoyed and saying the wrong things in the wrong way. We're talking about Yaakov Avinu and Reuven, one of the Shivtei Ka. And nonetheless, Yaakov held off from giving him tochacha till the last day of his life. There's a sefer called Minchas Shmuel, written by a Talmud of Reb Chaim Volozin, and he writes explicitly, mitzvahs ha-tochacha. You want to know about mitzvahs ha-tochacha? You should know that I was makabel for my Rebbe Reb Chaim Volozin, and this is brought in the Keser Rosh in Ois Kuf Mem Gimel also, that bizmanenu koshois einom nishmois, and therefore in most cases and many cases, potur hu meloichiach. There's no mitzvah to give tochacha. the Mesilas Yeshorim in Perek Chof, when he speaks about how important it is to consider the consequences of our actions before doing them, he brings this one example. You want to give tochacha? He says very often, and your words are not being heard. You're going to cause them to get even more anti, even more annoyed. And to cause a greater chilul Hashem. He says at the end, you have to look at the consequences, and if you see that the tochacha you're going to give is not going to put him right, don't do it. It's not the Ratzon Hashem. So let's take the mitzvah of tochacha, understand it, and put it aside. It does not apply to most of our kids in most cases. Our kids need encouraging words. We're going to discuss in the future still how to deal with our challenged kids. But tochacha is a mitzvah that very, very rarely applies. Let's not get carried away thinking that this mitzvah of tochacha is of paramount importance, which it is, if we could keep it, if the children could listen to it. But tachlis is, today the mitzvah of tochacha is getting between us and our kids. Again, as we said last time, we're losing our relationship with the kids, we're losing our influence as parents, and we're not being mekayim the mitzvah of tochacha at the best, and we could possibly be causing a greater chilul Hashem and more averis and Lifney iver. Tochacha is not something that we're supposed to keep in our lexicon when trying to serve Hashem and bring up Mesilas Yeshorim. At least for the challenged kid. For the regular kid, then when we discuss our chinuch clips, we'll discuss how tochacha applies today, and there is a metzia on that, but it's not for this clip. Looking forward to seeing you next time.